So in this lecture, I'm going to talk to you about something very important. Now this thing right here, which is called as candlestick, is something that is also very overrated and also kind of important for you to understand how to read charts exactly. So let me frame it in a very simple manner. So if you don't learn the letters, if you don't learn the alphabets, you cannot form a statement. But the letters, the alphabets in itself are not that important. I hope you understand. I hope you get my point. So the same thing is with candlesticks. A lot of people make candlesticks a very big deal, including me. When I started my journey, I read a whole book on candlesticks just to understand the name of the patterns, just to memorize the name of the patterns, just to understand, oh my god, what is a shooting star? Oh my god, what is a bearish engulfing? This and that. None of that matters. Yes, you heard me right. None of those stupid candlestick patterns that you have seen on the internet, they are all bullshit. Let me tell you what actually matters. For the people who don't know what candlestick patterns are, great, keep it that way, because that's all unnecessary bullshit information. Okay, so let me tell you what exactly it is. So what you see on my chart, so these red and green things that you see, they are called candles. And a chart, a candlestick chart, is made up of candles. It is made up of data sets. It is made up of data points, right? So every single candle here is a data point for this entire chart to exist. So let me give you an example. So on a standalone basis, let's say if I talk about this candle right here, this small green candle right here, on a standalone basis, this candle doesn't tell you anything, or maybe it does, but it doesn't tell you everything about this entire chart, everything about this movement, everything is about this downtrend, this price movement on the downside, right? But reading all the candlesticks together, they tell you, yes, the price has been coming down over the last few hours or over the last few days, which is fine. Now, I don't want you to memorize candlestick patterns because, like I said, they're all bullshit. But what you need to understand about a candle are just these few things. So understand the biology of a candle, okay? I don't use presentations because I think they're just bullshit and boring. So I'm going to draw it for you. Don't mind my bad drawing. So when a candle is formed, or in fact, let me do one thing. Let me just tell you quickly and I'll show you live. So there are just four components of a candle. The high, the open, the close, and the low. So what does this mean? And also one more thing, this line over here, this thin line over here is also called as the wick, and this entire thing is called the body. Okay, so let me delete all this and let me explain it to you on an actual real candle. Okay, all right, so let's take an example of this huge green candle right here. So let me point out, so this is the high. Let me in fact make it more simpler for you guys. So this level right here is the high, this level right here is the low, this right here is the open, this right here is the close. So basically, when a candle opens up, now for this you also need to understand that every single candle represents a certain amount of time. So in this example, I am looking at a 1 minute time frame chart. That means every single candle represents 1 minute of time on the chart, 1 minute of price movement on the particular chart, right? So if you see over here, there's a small timer going on here. It says 11 seconds. So in 11 seconds, this 1 minute is going to be over, and this candle is going to represent all the movement that took place in this particular minute, in these 60 seconds, right? So now this candle just closed. Now this candle just opened right here. Okay, so now let's look at it. So the candle already has made a high and is now going down. The candle made a high. This was the open price. There's a very small gap between the open and the high, so I'm not sure if you can see it. And now the candle is going down. So if the candle opens up at a certain price and starts going down, the color of the candle becomes red, obviously because it is going down from the open price. If the candle opens up and starts going higher, the color becomes green, obviously because it is going up, right? So now let's wait for this candle to close. Meanwhile, once again, let me repeat, there are only four components of a candle. First is the high, second is the low, third is the open, fourth is the close. This is all you need to understand about a candle. This is the biology of a candlestick. After you understand this, I am going to teach you how to actually read a candlestick and why all the candlestick chart patterns are absolutely bullshit. If you look at this, once again, in this candle just closed. So what happened here was the price, so let's zoom in a little bit more on this particular candle which is formed right in front of us. So if you look at this, the price opened right here at 3480. The price went a little bit higher at 3480.559. Then the price started going down. The price touched a low of 3478, but the price went up back a little bit and closed at 3479. So out of all these four things, what is important? So obviously all four components tell you a different story. All four components are equally important. But now coming to the two major things, the wick and the body. The wick of the candle and the body of the candle. So what is a wick? This thin line here is a wick. And in this case, this is the body. Once again, I repeat. So in this case, this entire red color is the body. And this small line right here is the wick in this particular case. Okay. So now, I don't know how many of you here have learned basic physics in school, but let me put it in the most simplest manner. The wick is equal to the distance traveled. I'm going to get a little bit into physics here. The wick is equal to distance traveled. The body is equal to displacement. I don't know how many of you got that, but once again, what is displacement? Displacement basically means that at the end of the trip or at the end of the candle closing, where did the candle actually end up? What was the displacement? What was the difference? So let me give you a very simple example. So let's say I leave my house, I go to Dubai, then from Dubai I come back and sit down in my house again. So the distance traveled was 1200 miles, but the displacement was 0 because I ended up back where I started off. Now let's take another example. Let's say I left my house, went to Dubai, from Dubai I went to Pakistan and I stopped there. So here now my displacement is basically the distance between India and Pakistan. Okay, my distance might be long, my distance might be 1200 miles, but my displacement is only India and Pakistan. I hope you're getting it. I'm trying to put it in the most simplest way possible, and that's exactly how you read a candle, my friends. What you do here is you look at the open price, you look at the open price and the close price. That's the body. The difference between the open price and the close price is basically your displacement. That tells you what is the difference between the candle opening and closing, and that tells you about the candle's body. The wick is the distance traveled, right? The wick shows you the footprints of the candle. The wick shows you the footprints of the price. The wick shows you how much did the price travel actually, and the body shows you where did it actually end up. Now these two things are very important and they tell you a certain story. Now let's start to understand how to read these candlesticks. So now once again, whatever I said till now might be a little heavy for you over here, but now I'm going to make it very simple as it's possible. So now you look at a certain candle, all you have to see, forget displacement, forget distance, forget wick, forget body, forget everything. All in the end, all that it matters is who is more powerful, the buyer or the seller. Because in the end, what actually matters is who is controlling the market. If the buyers are controlling the market, the prices are going to go up. If the sellers are controlling the market, the prices are going to go down. As simple as that. That is the only thing that matters, guys. Because all these candlestick charts, all these candlestick patterns that people are memorizing and wasting their time, eventually these patterns are only telling you who is powerful, the buyers or the sellers. So now I'm going to teach you how to read that. So all you have to look for in a candle is the imbalance of power. Who is more powerful, the buyers or the sellers? So let's start reading it. So let's read this particular candle, which is a little bit complicated for a beginner. So what exactly happened here? Let's try to understand. So the price opened over here, the price went high, came back down, went down, and then closed a little bit above. This is how it happened, right? Now what does this tell you? This tells you that the price opened up, the buyers took the price higher, the sellers were strong enough to push the price back down, in fact even lower, and then close over here. This tells you that the sellers are more powerful than the buyers, because the buyers tried to push the price higher, but the sellers brought it down and closed the candle below. This is how you read the imbalance of power. Let's make it a little bit more simpler. So here, what happened here? The price opened here, the price went up and closed over here. As simple as it gets. This shows you that the buyers are in control. The imbalance of power is in the favor of the buyers. This shows you the candle is bullish. This tells you that this particular candle is telling you that the buyers are in control. Let's make it even more simpler. Let's look at this particular candle. What does this tell you? The price opened here without any wicks. It opened here and it closed right here, which clearly tells you that the imbalance of power is in the favor of sellers. Now the fun part is when it comes to candles like these. So a beginner, complete beginner would struggle over here, and this you will get better as with practice. The more you practice, the better you get. So I'll give you an exercise to do as a beginner. So as a complete beginner, what you have to do is just zoom into the charts, look at a chart, just zoom into the charts and read individual candles. Okay, so what you have to do is select a particular candle, ask yourself that who has imbalance of power in this particular candle. Okay, so the candle opened up over here, price went up, but the sellers were strong enough to push it back down and close over here. This tells me that the sellers were in power, because the buyers tried to take the price higher, but the sellers closed the price back down below. Let's try to read this particular candle. What happened here? So the price opened up over here, the sellers took the price low, but the buyers were strong enough to drive the price back high and close it here. This tells you that the imbalance is in the favor of the buyers. Trust me guys, when you actually learn the entire course, when you finish the entire course, you will realize that I have saved you from a lot of unnecessary information that is there out on the internet, which is basically useless. I have spent 6 years doing this, and let me tell you, I have never used candlestick patterns because they're all bullshit. All I have used is imbalance of power, just to understand who is more powerful, just to understand whether the buyer is powerful or whether the sellers are more powerful. Eventually the candlestick patterns also serve the same purpose, but this is a much more simpler way to do it without memorizing patterns, without memorizing what is a shooting star, what is a morning star. None of that matters. And now you've learned the alphabets of how to read a chart. There's a lot more to come, but these are the alphabets. The candlesticks are the alphabets of how to read a chart. Keep practicing, keep making sure that you keep asking yourself, okay, where is the imbalance of power in this particular candle? Now once again, one last interesting thing before I finish this video are candles like this. So this candle right here in the middle, this is a confusing candle, because here it's very tough to understand where the imbalance is, whether it's in the favor of the buyers or in the sellers, because this candle pretty much closed where it opened. Right, it went up, it went down, but it closed where it opened. So this candle shows you that there's a very strong fight between the buyers and the sellers, but they are yet to understand who is the winner. So during these candles, you basically just wait for the next candle to confirm who is more powerful. So let me give you an example. So here what happened, once again, this is just an example. There was a lot of confusion between the buyers and the sellers. What happened here? Let's wait for the next candle. The next candle showed. Now once again, don't go by the color of the candle. The color of the candle doesn't determine who's the winner. What determines is the imbalance of power. So here the candle opened here, went down, buyers pushed it back up and closed it here. Even though the candle is red, the buyers are in power right here guys. I hope you are understanding my point. Don't go by the colors. So now this was confusing us. This gave us the clear signal that the buyers are in control. What happened next? The price just went up. Now once again, not necessarily this is going to happen every time. This is just an example, but this is how you once again understand the imbalance of power. Before I finish the video, one golden rule about reading candlesticks: always wait for a candlestick to close before trying to read it. Because if you try to read a candlestick that is not closed, that is still open, that is still going up and down, it can give you a very different story at the end of the day. Right? So always and always make sure that you wait for a candlestick to close and then only make an analysis on it. Okay? Because a candlestick can open here, might go down here. You might say that, oh, sellers are in control, but it might close up back up. Right? So it can be a very big disaster. So make sure you follow this golden rule. Make sure you read a candlestick only after it is closed. Never read a candlestick that is ongoing. Okay, so that is it for this lecture guys. I hope you understood the imbalance of power. Make sure you practice it on at least 100 candlesticks and you will understand exactly what I mean.